And thanks once again to all our honorable guests for their amazing speeches. Please give them a round of applause.
Before moving to the panel discussion, we would like to remind you that there will be a lucky draw with Xbox together with Kinet, and so to flip as prizes later on. Please push your name card into our lucky draw box near the reception if you haven't done so.
Moreover, we have some nice souvenirs for everyone, including comic from a prestigious local comic drawer, Xiu Hak. Please feel free to get the souvenir from the reception table.
Moreover, please help on giving us your view by kindly filling the feedback form attached with the souvenir. Your comment will be highly appreciated, and also after the event there will be a networking reception event, and there will be refreshment provided, and it will be like around that side.
Actually, Internet Society Hong Kong has started to put effort on IPv6 issues since 2007. We will keep it up and will be glad to have your support in the coming future. And one of the ways to support us is to be our member, simply by filling in the membership form. No fee is needed for general member. We will keep our members updated in the loop for future IPv6 related issues.
Now, let's move to the panel discussion. May we invite our panel moderator, Edmon Chung, together with our guests, Jeff, Warren Lento, who's Management Director of NetFront and Vice Chairman of HKISPA, and Aaron Tong, Senior Consulting Systems Engineer, Asia Pacific of Juniper, and Benjamin Lee, Consulting Systems Engineer, Cisco Systems, Hong Kong, to come onto the stage.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being so patient about the whole event. I'm sure we've heard a lot of things being said today, and I think we're hoping that this session would be more interactive. So if you had any questions, and any of the speakers actually, I think they're still here or up here, please think about them. But I'd like to perhaps go around just around the panelists right now, and perhaps give a brief introduction with yourself and your thoughts about this particular session. Is all about really starting and actually putting IPv6 into operation. So your thoughts about that. I heard a lot of talk about security and those issues. Perhaps to add on that as well. Charles, did you want to join us, or were you, please, or because you said you were going to, and our other speakers as well from PCCW, and if Guowei, if you want to join us as well, it's up to you if you feel comfortable, because I think a lot of people might have questions for you too, maybe. But so I guess I'll start from the far end on just a brief introduction. For those who spoke already, it's up to you whether you want to start with an introduction. Please go ahead.
All right, my name is Benjamin Lee. I'm from Cisco Hong Kong. So I'm a consulting system engineer based in Cisco Hong Kong. And I look after the local service provider in Hong Kong. So one of my main focus now is focus on the IPv6 technology for Hong Kong, and also the video technologies. So in terms of Cisco organization, we have the local CSE for Hong Kong, and we have a regional CSE covering Asia-Pac, and also we have a headquarter CSE covering the whole world. So this is very much the organization structure of Cisco supporting the IPv6 community. So in terms of the Cisco impact to the industry, so you could see a lot of innovation and support from Cisco, including a lot of IPv6 workshops, a lot of standards being driven by Cisco, a lot of service provider and enterprise customers to adopt IPv6 technologies. So if you look at the Cisco strategy, then we announced terms of we call the 3P strategy. So it's kind of like we call it preserve, prepare, and prospect. So it allows service providers to migrate from the existing IPv4 only network to dual stack and then to IPv6 only. So this is we have a solution and technology covering all these, and we hope that with the technology we offer, we could help the industry to adopt to IPv6 in a very fast pace. So any other questions?
Thank you. I guess we'll go around quickly, just a minute or so, and Catherine has already spoken, so maybe Lento.
I'm Lento, and I'm from the Hong Kong ISP Association, and I represent ISPs. So I have two experts beside me, and this is a regulator and an engineer, very knowledgeable in IPv6, and we have Catherine, the expert here, and the world-class quadruple play service provider. So I would like to paint a better side of the picture. Is that although Warren said, okay, only one ISP offer good enough IPv6 service. So I would say this is more a business decision. It is nothing related to our capability, our knowledge, our preparedness, anything like that. This is one thing. The second thing is that I did a survey or some statistics on our Hong Kong routing table back a few months back, and we actually have quite some IP addresses. So I would say Hong Kong is, we have experts, regulator, world-class provider, and we have knowledge and we have resources. So although we look like moving a bit not as fast as we hope now, but I would say I'm confident that service providers in Hong Kong will be very good in dealing with the transition, and nothing bad will happen. And this is proven. In the past we have cables broken, we have earthquakes, and we covered well. So I'm proud of being part of the telecom industry in Hong Kong. And that's what I would like to paint, Is it too positive?
Resilience is about Hong Kong. Hong Kong is all about resilience, is what you're saying. I see Chihu over there. You're supposed to be on the panel too. Are you joining us, or you're staying put? You're staying put, but we might come back to you. So, Warren.
So what Lento is saying is that ISP have enough IP address to use. Are you saying that?
I would say at the moment the shortage is not imminent, it's not immediate, and actually we have more than 10 million IP addresses announced from Hong Kong IX, but of course the utilization is not 100%. Like we have a block of Class C, we may use just a few pieces of IP addresses, but what I'm trying to say is that ISPs in Hong Kong are aware of the problem. I think they have the capability, like Catherine, just demonstrated. And although we look slow, moving slowly at the moment, I would say I feel confident that bad things will not happen.
You just look at things from the perspective of fixed broadband provider. How about mobile? How many mobile subscribers are there in Hong Kong? They are now using fake IP address. If they try to access Google Maps, 13 ports are open together. They already suffer. And do you know the problem of NAT keep alive? Because they are using fake IP address. Their mobile terminal have to send out NAT keep alive message every 30 seconds. So that makes their battery cannot last quite long. So for mobile operator, they need to move to IPv6 address, and they need to allocate IPv6 address to smartphone as soon as possible.
Yeah, I have for the mobile part of number thing to add. So I think most of guys are using smartphones, right? But smartphone nowadays, like Kevin said, the devices they are not really ready for IPv6. So if you look at a lot of 3G smartphones, they don't support IPv6 on the cellular part. They only support V6 on the Wi-Fi part. So most of the vendors only support V6 on the Wi-Fi part. So that's why you could see not that ready to roll out 3G-based IPv6 services. But for the case of LTE or 4G, because the specification already define V6, so I will see that you guys are going to see V6 natively on 4G services.
Yeah, totally agree. Mobile networks have been using NAT for ages. With the availability of V6, we see more mobility features going to be supported by V6, and this is happening on LTE already.
So, Warren, well, let's go through.
This is my last response.
Fine. No worries. That's good.
If in Hong Kong, by the end of this year, LTE provider roll out LTE, and they still do not provide IPv6 to their customer, we can go to make campaign to the ombudsman.
So, Jeff, the dark side had said they are the white knight, and we have a very aggressive regulator here in Hong Kong. What do you?
Well, part of this is a regulatory problem, because the market itself is still looks at this and looks at V6 and says, where's the money? Because consumers are saying, V4, V6, I don't care, it's just the web, it's just email, I'm not going to pay any more. And that's why this industry has stalled on V6. And that's why the regulator is really going to take an active stance in Hong Kong and in many other countries. But I'd like to say something else to this audience, because I assume you're all IT professionals. 25 years ago, when I stopped being a mainframe programmer and took up networking, the internet was just beginning. And literally there was so much work to do, and it was fascinating. And I've enjoyed it a lot. But that life has actually come to an end, because right now we're finished with that chapter of the internet. Every last device needs to be reprogrammed. Every last bit of infrastructure needs to be rethought out. And anyone who's looked hard at V6 would come very quickly to the conclusion, we haven't quite finished doing that work. There's a lot of stuff in V6 that doesn't quite work right. And that's your problem. Because you're sitting there and saying, what can I do? You can do a lot. Because we need your inputs over the next 20 years. Because we're going to have to build a new internet, and I'd like to think that you're going to play a role in programming it, in programming the devices, in setting up the business models that make the business model of IPv6 work. Work in wires, work in fibre, and work over wireless. And that's actually an exciting challenge that was every bit as exciting as the one 25 years ago. And I think there's a whole lot that each of you can do individually here to make an amazing difference both in Hong Kong and across the entire world. And I look forward to seeing what you can do.
And I'm sure there's going to be answers from Aaron.
Yes, my name is Aaron Tong from Juniper Networks, supporting Asia Pacific service provider. So I would like to echo a point on the IPv4 address depression. So the point Kento make about IPv4 in ISP is still they got available addresses, right? So in fact, from our experience working with my customer, the first step to approach the IPv4 depression is trying to reclaim or save the IP address. So they're trying to looking at reviewing their usage of IPv4, and amazingly they find there are still many IPv4 addresses left unused in large ISP. So, but I'm not saying this is not an issue, but I think for ISP to move forward, first of all, they need to find a way to delay their IPv4 depression inside their society, inside their network. But at the same time, to buy some time to move forward to IPv6.
Hopefully not at the expense of users or, the internet development. Koi?
Well, actually in Taiwan, the society or the community or the government actually see the problem from the very different aspect. As you know, actually the Taiwan basically is surviving based on the ICT manufacturing, the OEM or ODM. So that actually I'm asking the Hong Kong people is, do your government do the incentive for your industry? You know, and the reason do that in Taiwan is because the government willing to do the incentive for the industry is not just helping the industry to get on the roll. The real reason is that the government thought about, I put some of the incentive for this industry, so they will generate the opportunity for the OEM, ODM manufacturing to develop or manufacturing the devices, it work. Once it work, as you know, the world's second largest computer show is Computex in Taiwan. That is a time for them to demonstrate the product to the worldwide. And if that is the strategy work, that means they can sell millions, tens of millions of the products all over the world. Just to give you one simple example. Last year, there is a IPv6 task force. The chairman of the IPv6 task force in Netherlands. As you know, the European Commission spent a lot of money. They spent almost 300 million euro in last, I think it's a 7 year or 8 year in the IPv6 deployments. And when this chairman asking all the ISP in the Netherlands, and all the ISP tell him from the chipset, from the devices, 100% from Taiwan. So he told the chairman, say, if you go to the Taiwan, please try to talk to those vendors. Can they provide us the V6 devices or chipset so we can do the V6 deployment? So when he came to the Taiwan, the first thing he gave me a call, say, get me some guy I can talk this issue. And so I think in Taiwan we look at the IPv6 really a little bit different aspect compared with the other, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, or whatever. Because as I mentioned, many of the devices is in Taiwan. So the government willing to spend some money, Even, for example, sometimes the government, sometimes the people will be, I think that Taiwanese people actually is a very in the difficult positions because the government put the incentive to the industry doesn't benefit to the Taiwanese peoples. Only benefit those business guy, right? But those business guys can generate the revenue to the whole Taiwan, So that is a very different aspect from my point of view to look at the IPv6. And so the only one thing for the Taiwan government policy, IPv6 must success. If IPv6 not success, then we will lose another chance to make money.
That's very interesting, and I was going, looking down to see if Joyce from OGCIO was still there, but I think she escaped because we were asking for money again. Any questions from the floor? Jehu, Mike.
I have a question for the service providers here. Maybe start from Lento. Seems that he has a lot of IPv4 address left. I want to ask, if someone come to you and ask you to sell them the IPv4 address, will you sell the address to them? And if not, why? That's a value. You can make a lot of money.
I cannot say for other service providers.
your case?
Me, that depends on the amount of money.
How much are you willing
that's
to pay?
very natural. This is a business decision. I have to do some calculation. I don't know. But I have to say, this is very natural way of doing business for ISPs. We as ISPs, we see that in the foreseeable future, IPv4 addresses are going out. So ISPs naturally will get as many IP addresses as possible. So this is very natural. Let's face it. So each ISP, I guess, they have some reserve. So I'm not saying that we should not do IPv6, but this is very natural thing to happen, for, they are doing business, so they have to protect themselves. I think each ISP has some IP address reserves. This is very true. This is true. So you're seeing that, okay, things are not moving as quickly as we thought, but we are reading the news that IP addresses are depleting. So, but nothing happens here. Why? So I think the reason is that IP addresses are still available, but each of the ISPs are keeping their own reserve. That's one thing. So the reason why I'm confident that, we won't run into problems is that ISPs will be making the right decision. That's my belief. And so far, I think it works. That's what I'm trying to say, actually.
Okay, how about Catherine? What do you think?
Well, we're not going to trade our IP addresses resources at all.
Why?
Is this recorded?
Well,
why?
Well, because this is necessary to maintain the continuity of service to our customers, I'll say. And we can see that there is going to be several years where V4 and V6 are going to coexist. So we needed resources to make sure that there is a smooth transition.
But are you going to buy IP address from others?
Well, I can't answer this at this moment. Depends on the situation. And we hope that the migration to V6 is going to happen sooner.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone want to add?
Yeah, some comment on top of that. I think one of the reasons that Hong Kong SPs don't have the IPv4 exhaustion problem yet is like the market situation, right? Because like the Hong Kong broadband market is very saturated. Right? We are one of the highest penetration among the world, right? So every ISP is getting a fair share of the market share in Hong Kong. I think that's one reason that we don't see a lot of customers saying that they're running out of IPv4 addresses. And the other point I want to add is like a lot of people ask like what's the price for a single IPv4 address cost now? So I recently study on that, right? One of the case we see like Nortel is bankrupt, right? And it's doing the other side of the world that they're selling all the IPv4 addresses to Microsoft, right? And people calculate the amount of price per IPv4 address is around 12 to 12, I mean below 12 US dollars per IPv4 addresses. So they will give service provider some idea on, the cost of investing on equipment or whether they buy from the outside world.
Interesting. I know Jeff wanted to add, and then I'll go to the floor for the question.
It's a very interesting question there, Che-Hu, and most interesting for Hong Kong. Just over there is China. I think it's in that direction, isn't it? Last year, APNIC gave out around 1/3, in fact more, 1/2 of all addresses in the world. We gave out 250 million IPv4 addresses. The largest country to receive them was China.
Yep.
China does not have enough IPv4 addresses. Does not. It doesn't have them today, definitely, because we've run out at APNIC. If there is a buyer of addresses, the buyer is going to be the one that's most desperate. And price inevitably enters the discussion. There was a trade that happened in America where they published the price. It was $10 US an address. That's nothing. Once the price gets interesting, 10 times that number, 100 times that number, all of a sudden the sellers will appear, and they'll appear from places like this, because the address will be worth more than the customer. As soon as that happens, you're going to find a very different situation here in Hong Kong. And the pressure to kind of get rid of your V4 addresses while they're still worth some money might make the position of both the large and the small ISPs here change very, very rapidly. And all of a sudden you're going to find yourself ringing up your vendor in Taipei going, where are my V6 chips? Because I need 5 million CPEs with V6 by next week. Are you ready?
Yeah, actually, this is a very interesting question, though. Well, you had better not to be the last tulip, okay? Because once the V4 addresses are really on the sellings, and I don't know who will be the last tulips, because just in a certain point, the market will be, well, I think the consumer are going to pay for that high price. And there will be a dramatically force to push the V6 must be deployed. Once they deploy and success, the V4 will be go to nothing. Who cares the V4? And well, if you are asking what is the position in Taiwan, well, we like the V6 better because there will be general devices. The V4, we don't, we make the devices, but the price is not good. The margin is not good.
So I guess bubble makes money, but just don't be the loser at the end.
Don't be the last one.
Thank you very much. I have a few questions to ask the panel. Now, number one, as a user, as a consumer, I heard enough from the experts, from Taiwan, from manufacturing, from the DSN, domain name service provider, providing ISPs, from the network for your broadband services. As a user, I may not use all of them. I'm selective. Now, number one, what is the cost? What is my cost from upgrading from IP4 to IP6? Well, I think this is a question most of the people here would like to ask. What is the alternative cost, right? What is the roadmap? What is the target date for the government to implement V6? Now, can we separate the mobile internet with fixed network internet? Because the mobile, we use a lot of IP addresses. So this segment is good for me to bring in a lot of thoughts today. And I hope that this will be some of the questions that I want to raise. Now, how would the world be ready? Today is the world's IPv6 day. How many countries, how many networks are implementing this with a roadmap like IPv6? Is Australia ready for it? Other countries, is Taiwan ready for it? Now, as an expert, as an IT leaders or people in the industry, we must think about it. So the question of separating the mobile internet as another license for an opportunity rather than mix it. So there are still IPv4 IP addresses, a bundle of them. Some of the people are just buying for trading. My company has been approached. People use my DSN, Do you want to use your .co, .jp? Do you want .asia? Well, they're selling it. Now, let's look at it. As for today is the World IP Day. Some of the people, if they are registered it and they're not paying for it, because when they register, they pay for $10 an IP address, right, Jeff? So if they're selling it for $100 for profit, how can we stop these people? If I'm going to book 1 million address from DotAsia, from APNet, today, can you give it to me? Then I can sell it. Everybody here will make money, right? These are the questions. So I hope that the panel will think about it and answer it one by one. I'm sorry.
Certainly DotAsia can, because we're selling domain names, and that's unlimited in a way. But so cost, schedule, and mobile impact. Anyone? Jeff.
What it will cost and what you are willing to pay are two different things. Because it will cost service providers a considerable amount of money to roll in dual stack. It's another protocol. It means training staff. It means buying more equipment. It means taking phone calls from customers if you're a retail provider. There will be considerable cost. But this is a marketplace. You can't just impose costs on customers. What are you willing to pay as a customer? I know myself, I'm willing to pay not 1 cent more than I'm currently paying. So I want this transition to happen for free to me as a customer. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of all customers when I say that. And that's the dilemma, that it will cost money, but customers don't want to upfront pay. This means that the industry has to invest in the future, that every single cent that they put in buying new equipment, new services that run V6, is actually an investment in the future market, because you certainly can't take the existing customers and make them pay extra for the same email, for the same web, for the same experience.
So that's definitely true. Anyone want to add to it? Schedule? I think Koei?
Yeah. Well, I think basically you have a couple of the different angles to see that. For example, I think Hong Kong is about the same thing as Taiwan. The internet population penetration is very high, right? So in that case, really, like you are talking about IPv4 address is a shortage to the Hong Kong or in Taiwan. I a little bit question about that. Even you have new devices, but don't forget that in Taiwan, we have a 25 or 26 million mobile phone. We only have a 20. I don't know how many addresses in the whole India. Don't forget that India in the 2015 will be the largest population in the world. But how many addresses in India? I think it's less than 2/8, right? Something like that. Can you imagine 1.5 billion population? They have roughly about the same address as Taiwan have. So you can think about, if this price go higher, the really suffer is loss of the area, and what will be happen? Can you imagine in that cases, we say the internet will try to connect the people around the world. If the price growing higher, the dream maybe never come true, though.
Or maybe they will be on V6 and we're left behind in the old internet. Any other question from the floor? There's one question over there.
Hi. To be honest, after listening to so many discussions about IPv6, I still don't know why. I still don't know why I have to spend like 5 minutes to switch, because IPv4 is so fine for me, even though the cost to switch is free, right? So my question is that, is it okay for me to use IPv4 forever, as long as there's like dual stack out there, right? So is there a possibility that the dual stack would simply exist forever and people can use IPv4 forever? And my second question is that when do you think would be a point that people like me using IPv4 would just have to switch to IPv6 as a user? I know that the ISPs would like to switch to IPv6, but as a user, when would be the point for me to have to switch to IPv6? Thank you.
So it's from a user's point of view.
I have a very quick answer for you. For the user, for the consumer, actually you don't care. Frankly speaking, you don't care. V4, V6. The only care is how you can access the internet. And the decision actually is not depends on the consumer. Actually, the decision is on the business plan of the ISP and whole market. Because they are looking for the new opportunity, the new chance to make them money. You know, like maybe 5 years or 6 years ago, or the Facebook or Twitter, you know. And the people always looking for the new opportunity. And those people making the new opportunity, they will find a way to solving the problem. And you as a consumer, you supposedly don't need to understand how you get on the net. You really don't need to figure out, oh, I need to switch to the V4, I need to switch to the V6. That is not your job. That is not you care. Actually, that is the job or the business what the ISP or content provider need to do for you. So I think your position is definitely right. Actually, it is totally the business practice of the ISP content provider or those of the businessmen. They want to looking for a new opportunity to make money.
So it's an industry issue, but that's until your refrigerator starts saying that I want an IP address too, and then you go and ask PCCW and they say the only way you can do that is go on V6.
At APNIC, we've been looking at you, and what we did is we took out a Google ad, and we've got about 1 million impressions so far of this Google ad. But it's a very subtle ad. I don't care if you click on it or not. I'd prefer you didn't, because then I really have to pay. But this ad gives you a little test in the background, and it tests whether you can really do IPv6 even if you didn't know. And what actually happens is an awful lot of you run Windows 7 and Windows Vista, an awful lot of you. And in fact, 40% of the entire world can do V6. They just don't know it. So there's more V6 than you thought. And to the gentleman up there who asked, why should I care? If your box runs Windows, you shouldn't care, and it does it anyway. You haven't got a problem. And how long do you need V4 for? I'm old enough to remember DECnet and SNA, and folk used to say they'd exist forever. They're dead. V4 will die pretty quickly too, I think, as well.
Any other questions from the floor?
Sorry, just one point to add. Speaking of cost of IPv6, personally, I totally agree with. I don't want to pay more to get IPv6, you know, in addition to IPv4. I guess this is a long-term investment for ISP for their business continuity. And I know, you know, today talking about long-term investment may not be a good thing, you know. We are reporting our, every enterprise reporting their result every quarter or half a year, right? But in the long run, if they need to maintain their business, definitely they need to move to IPv6 and invest in IPv6 and provide the lowest possible service. And in fact, this investment somehow may be offset the other investment of IPv4 that you have today for tackling some NAT imposed issue, right? So without NAT, then many application becomes easier. Even the forwarding performance may be better. Then at the end, you may offset some of the investment you have in IPv6.
Okay. Any other question? Seeing no hands, I actually have a question. Actually, Herman from Cyberport was speaking. Thank you. We were listening to the presentations, and then something jumped up, and Herman was saying, "Is IPv6 less secure?" You're always emphasizing on the security importance. So I guess the question is it more secure or not more secure? What is it about deployment of IPv6 in terms of security should we think about, and what do we want to let the users know? What message should we let the users know? Perhaps.
Again, I'll jump in there if that's okay, because again at APNIC we've been watching you. And we've been watching hostile traffic. On the internet in v4 today, 5 gigabits a second of traffic is unwanted, hostile zombies looking to try and catch you. 4 gigabits per second. Most of this actually comes from Conficker. It's a rather virulent virus that has taken over a huge number of Windows machines. Massive amount. And most of the way viruses work is pretty dumb. They try address number 10, and then they move to number 11, number 12, number 13, and so on. In v4, there are only 4 billion addresses. And with a fast machine, you'll get through the entire address space eventually. At home in v6, you might get a /48. There are so many individual addresses in a /48 that even if you can scan 1 million addresses a second, it'll take 3 times the life of the universe so far to scan just that one /48. In other words, v6 is a different proposition, and none of the current infection vectors that we see in v4 work in v6. So that it's not less secure or more secure, we're going to find a different kind of virus. You're going to find a different kind of hostility. And if some of you write viruses in v4, none of the work you're doing has a future. It's a dead end, because those viruses cannot work in v6. You're going to have to rethink your entire strategy. That's what we've found in looking at the dark traffic so far.
So even virus developers need to move to v6.
Total reskilling required.
Because there was an emphasis on security. I think that's definitely one thing that the users and the general community is interested in.
Do we consider spam as a security matter? Sure. If so, there's some bad news. In IPv6, there are so many addresses to use, so spammer can change their IP address every second. So IP-based belly system cannot be effective. So we need to have develop some new anti-spam system, or so to protect ourselves. So so far, I have not seen any IPv6 based belly system.
So really, what I'm hearing is that security is always an issue. It's not that it's less secure, or you should be afraid of the IPv6 world. It's really just a little bit different, and these are some of the things that people need to pay more attention on. And it's different from how you protect yourself and how you design systems in the v4 world versus the v6 world. Jeff, you want to add?
Folk have become very used to NATs. So I have a NAT. No hostile packet can come to me. I don't have to worry about it. When you get a dual stack service from your service provider, the NAT's only working in v4. On v6, there is no NAT. So that you're going to have to think again about how do I make sure traffic doesn't wander back down the connection. So as I said, it's a different kind of problem. It's not that v6 makes all security just magically fix itself. There will always be bad actors, and networking always has an element of trust. And, hostile folk exploit that trust. there will always be a problem. It's just in V6, it will take a different form.
So I'll have actually, any more questions? I can take one more question. If not, I will use it. I just, you were talking about NAT, and this suddenly came up. After this question, I'll just go around and just for final thoughts on this. But I'm curious, actually, maybe it's a short answer to this, asking Cisco, actually. In terms of NAT, are the existing Wi-Fi routers out there V6 ready, like that I can buy at home and, plug it in, and when I get a /48 and actually my refrigerator and my toasters can start getting the public IPs?
So you mean from the consumer CPE point of view?
Consumer products.
As far as I could say is, I could only comment on the Linksys for the 9, right? That's where Cisco carries, right? So the Linksys is going to support IPv6 type of routing by the end of this month. So our newest ported 9 4200 series is going to support IPv6 natively. So I guess with that, we're going to offer IPv6 device with Wi-Fi support on broadband router. But that's for the fixed line type of deployment.
Right, so that's not yet the consumer grade products at this point?
Yes, consumer grade is
it is. So next time I go to PCCW, I can pick up a router that's V6 ready, and then I can have a /48 at home. Great. So I guess we're about at the end of the session. I guess I'll just go around for any last words of advice for our community here gathered here. I guess I'll start with Guowei Yu and go across.
First of all, very happy to be here, and I look in the Hong Kong audience. It's very different to Taiwan. Usually in Taiwan we are facing the audience. It's no question at all. They're very quiet, And if you go to the India, you got tons of the question, and you are fighting with the audience. But love to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here, to participate, learned a lot, and I really hope one day, very soon, that my home can connect to the IPv6 world.
The closing thought I'd like to leave you with is that we built the internet, not they. It's our network, it's our content, it's our system. But if you want that to continue, if you want to be part of the internet yourself, just as much as I do, you need an open network, and open networking means open addressing. If you're not putting pressure on your provider, on the folk you get your computers from, the folk you get your modems from, to have V6 in it now, if you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a disfavour just as much as you're doing me harm as well. Our network needs V6. It's as simple as that if we want it to remain ours, not just theirs. Thank you.
I guess you have heard the presentation from Chu and my presentation that email in IPv6 is very difficult, and especially in the anti-spam matters. So if you face any difficulty about any spam in IPv6 email server, come to me. I have a lot of solutions for you.
Warren is the most experienced V6 guy. I thank you for the opportunity to speak here, and I think IPv6 transition I believe is a market-driven thing to happen, and I believe it will be smooth, and things will be good. And as for the anti-spamming, I think we need a SMTP/v6, something like that, to stop that. It's not about addressing problem; it's about the protocol itself. Thank you.
Yes, it's going to be a tedious migration process. And to us as ISP, we have to provide the options to our customers because there will be people on V4 and there will be people on V6. So we try to do our best to cater for the majority and almost most of our customers to their need. It's going to be a long-term migration and based on and by phases type of migration.
So first I want to say I'm glad to be one of the panelists in this event. And my final comment is like IPv6 is not backward compatible with IPv4. I think the only way to make IPv6 more successful is to have more IPv6 contents. So my comment is that if you get the same content over IPv4, IPv6, and an ISP are offering IPv6 service, I think it will be easier for consumers or to ISP to migrate all the service to V6, right? Once the content's ready, they don't care whether it's IPv4 or V6.
I have an idea actually. Well, we can approach Facebook and then tell Facebook if one day Facebook is V6 only, IPv6 will happen, overnight. Every providers will be forced to offer IPv6.
That's a possibility, but I guess internet society is all about an open internet, and I think you heard from Jeff. Call your provider. When you get out of here, call your provider and ask them for V6. That's what you can do to keep the internet open. So thanks for the panelists, and please join me in a round of applause for them.
Thank you, everyone. Please remain on stage and take a group picture. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Next, we will have an exciting part, which is the lucky draw. Our prizes are 1 Xbox together with Kinect and 4 Flip. May we take this opportunity to thank Microsoft for sponsoring us the Xbox with Kinect and Cisco for sponsoring us Flip. May we now invite Calvin Wong, Head of Sales, Service Providers, Cisco System, to draw the lucky ones for Flip.
It's my colleague, so should I put it back? It's Harry. Do you mind me put it back? Oh, this goes to my partner, Hardik Lee from Macaville.
Congratulations. Please draw the second lucky ones.
Anita Poon from NTT.
Is Anita Poon here? Maybe we can count to 3. If she's not here, we have to draw another one. Oh. Yeah, great, you're here.
Okay. Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, this goes to Aaron Tong from Juniper. Right, I think he probably would like our E4200 router. TK Wong from Hong Kong Jockey Club.
Congratulations. So the last lucky winner.
And the winners goes to Edmon Wong from PCW.
Thank you, Kevin. And congratulations to the winners. May we now invite Chi Hu Cheng, convener of IPv6 Working Group of ISOC Hong Kong, and Associate Director, Infrastructure of IT Services in Chinese University of Hong Kong, to draw the lucky one for Xbox together with Kinect.
Oh, it's me. No, it's not me. It's Albert Siu from Orange Business Services. Albert Siu?
Coming.
Oh, over there. Good. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chi-Hu, and congratulations. May we now once again thank all the guests and participants of this seminar for making it a successful one.
A networking reception will be held outside with refreshment provided over there. So besides, please be reminded that the coaches back to Admiralty would depart at 5:30 from the place that you dropped off.
Thank you once again for all your support and participation in Kickstart IPv6 seminar. Hope to see you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.